The Fed raises interest rates for the first time since 2018. China locks down 50 million people amid stealth Omicron fears. The Challenge Fund has its first green week since I've started this journey. We're going to get into those three things and see who won this week in today's video. But first, if you're new to my channel, I do weekly videos teaching you how to improve your financial health by investing, creating and maintaining a budget, and other personal finance topics. So with that being said, let's get into the first news story. First story of the week is that the Federal Reserve raised interest rates 0.25% in their March meeting this month. In that meeting, they also discussed that by the end of the year, interest rates are probably going to be around 1.9%. So I wanted to talk to you about how that's going to affect you and your life. First off, if you have any debt that has variable interest rates, you want to try to get that paid off as soon as you can, as your interest will probably just keep rising and rising. On the good side, how this might affect you is that any savings you have, you might start getting paid more interest on that. And the interest rates that these banks might offer will continue to go up as the interest rates go up. The Federal Reserve is doing this to combat inflation, so they're just going to take it as it goes and see how much they need to raise it over the next coming months. So just make sure you want to keep your eye out on that so you're prepared for whatever comes. The final thing I wanted to mention about rising interest rates is that if you're looking at refinancing your house or buying your first house, the sooner you do this, the better, as interest rates are just going to keep going higher and higher. The next story I wanted to touch on is how China is locking down over 50 million people. This article notes that on March 15th, China issued citywide lockdowns in these areas, where the lockdown in Shenzhen, where it locked down 12.5 million people, is a huge manufacturing city. So just being shut down a week is going to disrupt a lot of supply chains, including Apple, electronics, cars, those types of businesses. So you'll want to keep your eye out on that and just see if it has any long-lasting effects to our supply chain, which would cause higher inflation. I'll have a link to both of these articles in the description if you want to check them out. All right, guys, that's all for the news. Let's see how each index fared this week. First off, we have the Dow Jones, which was up 4.81% this week, which is great. Best week it's had since I've started this channel. And then the S&P 500 is up for the week. Let's look here, 5.85%. While we have the NASDAQ killing it, going up 8.42%. And finally, we have the Russell 2000, which is up 5.59% this week. All right, now let's go to the ring and see who won this week. In the red corner, we have Jeremy, the small cap crusader. In the white corner, we have Graham, the ETF king. In the blue corner, we have Joseph, the dividend destroyer. And in the yellow corner, we have Jamie, the recession wrangler.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Coming in fourth place this week is Jamie, the recession wrangler. Looking at Jamie's portfolio, it was up 3.31% this week, with the biggest losing stock being Verizon Communications at negative 4.23%, and the biggest gaining stock being Budweiser at 8.18%. Coming in third place is Graham, the ETF king. Next, we have Graham Steffen's portfolio, which was up a whopping 6.42% this week, with the biggest gains coming from the QQQ ETF at 8.46%, and the smallest gains coming from the small cap ETF at 5.79%. Coming in second place is Joseph, the dividend destroyer. Next, we have Joseph Carlson's portfolio, which was up 6.57% this week, with all stocks being in the green this week, and the biggest gainer coming from Starbucks at 8.83%, followed by JP Morgan Chase at 8.58%. And coming in first place this week is Jeremy, the small cap crusader. And finally, we have Jeremy from Financial Education's portfolio up a whopping 11.93% this week, with again all stocks are in the green on his portfolio, with PayPal being the largest at 23%, followed by Facebook being up 15.24%, while his smallest gain came from Skyworks at 6.28%. So as you can see, the Challenge Fund had a great week, up 6.92%, with most of the gains coming from Jeremy's portfolio, which was mostly consisted of small cap companies. Where in the previous weeks, those small cap companies were the biggest losers. When the market churns and starts going green, they're also the biggest gainers. That's where the high risk, high reward strategy comes in. So for overall, since the start of the fund, we're up $81 on the fund, which is a 3.39%. And on Monday, I will be investing another $100 into each of these funds. So stay tuned next Friday to see who's winning next week. The online brokerage I'm using for this fund is M1 Finance. And if you're interested in getting started on your own investment fund, I do have a link in the description for a referral link for these guys, where if you deposit $100, you'll get $50 as a reward, and so will I. So that's a way you can support my channel. So if you're interested in getting started, try them out. That's it for today's video. Appreciate you watching. Now I'm going to finish this video off with a quick word from my dog, Princess. Have a great weekend.
Hey, would you do my owner a favor and please smash the like button? And while you're down there, why don't you go ahead and subscribe as well? I'll wait. Thanks so much.